Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Dathan Days, and today we are here at the Triumph showroom to look at this beautiful baby. This is the Triumph Daytona 660. So people know Daytona to be the track machine, award-winning track machine, the Japanese bike's killer. But let me tell you, apart from the name that this bike shares with the 675R, this is a completely different bike. The 675R was a track machine, a lot more super sport focused motorcycle, while this is a sport tourer. And as it shares the same name as the Daytona, it's a completely different bike. In 2001 to 2006 is when Triumph launched the Daytona for the very first time, and that was a 600cc bike, which was a sport tourer. And then they moved on to a super sport, and again came back in circle to the sport tourer itself. So to give you a little about the power figures, this is a 600cc engine which produces around 95 PS of power and 69 Newton meters of torque. If you ask me, this is a pretty good bike, and the ex showroom for this bike is around 9.75 lakhs, and the on-road price differs of different parts of India. So yeah, this is the beast, and it comes in three different colors. It comes in white, black, and this red as well. The face looks pretty sharp and pretty good as well. It's got LED headlights, tail lights, and a pretty good machine altogether. It does share some elements from the 675R, but as I told you, this is a sport tourer. And let me just hop on the bike and show you how it feels. So, first impressions, this bike is really light, and Triumph really knows how to pack their stuffs really well. Just to give a comparison, the Triumph 1200 is a huge beast, but it feels very light when you sit on the bike. It's the same situation with this as well. It's really light. On paper, this shows around 201 kgs, but it's a pretty light motorcycle, easy to handle in traffic as well. How I occurred to that is because I just took a test ride of this bike, and in traffic it felt really well. It is as easy to handle as every motorcycle, but the main thing is you need to understand that you have around 95 PS of power at your wrist, so you need to be very careful about that. So apart from that, this riding position is a lot more relaxed compared to every super sport and sport tourer in the market. So this doesn't strain your back, and your foot pegs is also a little more in front, which gives you a lot more relaxed riding position, which helps you to travel for a lot more mileage. So as you see, I'm sitting on the bike and my leg is flat on the ground. So this seat height is around 810 millimeters, which is pretty good for everyone of all height ranges. And as I told you, this is a pretty relaxed riding position. Apart from that, yeah, it's a pretty good body, and if you come closer, you'll get to see a lot more information on the bike. So firstly, this bike doesn't come with adjustable suspension. It comes with preset suspension front, and the rear suspension is a monoshock, which is pre-adjusted from the factory. This gets a display which is shared by the Adventure Sport and the Trident as well, and shares the same engine as the others, the 660 lineup as well. Apart from that, you get different modes on the bike. You get different switches. You get three different riding modes, which is rain, road, and sport. So the Trident had the rain and the road, but this bike comes with a sport mode, which gives out a little more power than the Trident. And this bike is priced $1.5 lakh more than the Trident, which I would say is actually a good price compared to the other bikes on the market. So let's talk about the tires. So this bike comes with Michelin tires, which are pretty good tires. And this comes with a 180 section tire at the rear and 120 section on the front. And both come with 17-inch alloys. And this 180 section tire it gives that beefier look to a super sport and a super bike. And when you look at the back portion of this bike, it feels so good and feels like you're actually on a super sport. So apart from that, you get this other extension which acts as a mudguard and also your LED indicators and your number plate holder as well. You get your foot pegs and this grab handle is a pretty good grab handle. But if you're looking to tour alone, what you can do is you can remove these grab handles, and Triumph sells you a cowl for the seat. So you add a cowl and ride it as a single seat. So this bike sits really low. The ground clearance of this bike is around 140 mm. The main thing is this comes with an underbelly exhaust. The exhaust sits really low for the bike, and which in most cases in our Indian road conditions, there are a lot of speed breakers. So you need to be very careful while taking it over the speed breakers. Otherwise, there are chances that you might scrape. But if you take it very carefully and if you know what you're doing, it's easy. So as I told you, this bike comes with an underbelly exhaust, and it sounds pretty good stock. It's honestly, this bike is the best sounding inline 3 in the market. There's no other bike that sounds as good as this bike. But if you want to open up the sound, there are a lot of options to add an exhaust to this bike. So why not try that out? One disadvantage, I would say, not disadvantage, I think a cost cutting method, I would say, is this oil tank, which looks pretty basic for a super sport or a sport tourer. So that's one thing about what I had in mind. Apart from that, is the clutch is slightly on the heavier side, but you have the adjuster for the brake when you don't have the adjuster for the clutch. So that's one thing I'm not sure why Triumph did that. So yeah, it's a pretty good motorcycle, and apart from that, yeah, you get a pretty good windscreen. The mirrors are show really good view behind. I really love the way the tank looks as well with this stripe in between. But my favorite color among all three colors is the white, because the white is a pearl white and it looks so good on road.
Well guys, I'm not sure why the mic didn't pick up the audio at this part. So here I'm giving you the information what I was saying while riding the bike. So the Triumph Daytona 660 felt incredibly smooth and well balanced as well, making the city riding feel like a breeze. Right away I had noticed how easy it is to maneuver through traffic. Firstly, the lightweight chassis, which is a steel tubular chassis, and precise handling gave me total confidence while weaving between cars and traffic as well. The throttle response is spot on, delivering the right amount of power without feeling jerky or overwhelming, which actually makes the stop and go traffic way more manageable and easy to ride as well. Even on rough city streets, the suspension does a great job of soaking up bumps, keeping the ride comfortable, plus the riding position feels natural. So as you see in the video, I'm not constantly adjusting my position in order to stay comfortable on the bike. Overall, the Daytona 660 makes the riding experience fun and effortless while riding in the city in urban conditions, and also it's a sport tourer, so it will honestly ride really well on highways as well.
what's my final verdict? My final verdict is that this is the Triumph Daytona, but it's not the Daytona that you expect. The Daytona 675R is a track machine, a award-winning machine, but this is supposed to be treated as a sport tourer. And if you're in the market looking for any sport tourer, this you can gladly go for. But if you're looking for performance and you're looking that this might match the name that the 675R made, then I think it's better you look elsewhere. So my final verdict is that this is a pretty good bike and a really comfortable bike to start your riding career with. If you're moving from the 300, 400cc range to a 600 range and you're looking for putting on miles rather than being on track experience, this is a good bike. And yeah, this is a pretty good bike according to me. I really love this bike, and even though the name that people know Daytona for is a track machine, when you look at the roots, you'll find that the first bike that had the name Daytona was a sport tourer. So looking back in history and circling back to the sport tourer experience, I think it's a good touch that Triumph has done this. So stay tuned for more updates and see you in the next one.